Welcome back to the deep dive. If you ever wished you could boost your income, but then immediately thought, I don't have money to start something.
Yeah.
Well, this deep dive is absolutely for you. Our mission today, zero tolerance for upfront costs. We really dug into sources focusing strictly on how you can launch a profitable side hustle using zero capital, just your time, the skills you already have, and free online tools. And what we found is that the barrier, it's often lower than you think. Starting small, maybe with freelancing or some local gigs, it's totally doable. That feeling of being overwhelmed, often it's more psychological than, financial.
Yeah.
Just to give you a sense of scale here, the sources point out that over 35% of Americans are actually doing some kind of side hustle right now.
Wow, that many.
Yeah. And these low barrier ideas, the ones we're talking about, they consistently bring in, say, $500 or more a month if you put in the effort.
Right. And that $500 figure is really key, I think. It clarifies the strategy. The foundation for this kind of success is basically what the sources call brain-based work.
Yeah.
Or maybe leveraging the gig economy. You're selling your knowledge, your skills, or your time, not, physical stuff you had to buy first.
Okay.
And the key, according to these guides, is sticking to that zero investment rule by only starting to scale, reinvesting after you actually see some money coming in.
Okay, so let's unpack that definition a bit.
Yeah.
What really defines a zero investment hustle? Because when we say zero, we mean $0 out of your pocket on day one.
Right.
But people worry about platform fees or maybe hidden costs down the line.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the sources do add some nuance there. It's really zero upfront capital. We have to be real. Platforms like Upwork or Fiverr, they will take a commission, usually 10%, maybe 20% of what you earn. But that commission happens after you get paid. So it fits the definition because you aren't paying money to start. The main thing is that your inventory is your skill set, right? Your writing ability, how organized you are, maybe just your energy and availability. You really need to first figure out what assets you already have, a decent laptop, a smartphone, maybe a clean background check, and then stick strictly to hustles that use those things. If you don't have easy access to a car, you probably need to focus purely on remote digital stuff. Makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes the choice really vital. So, okay, we've assessed our skills. Where do we aim that effort? Our sources pulled together a really actionable list. 10 accessible, low-risk options that honestly probably align with skills most of you listening already have. We want to give you specific platforms and earning potentials, make it concrete. Let's maybe start with leveraging those admin or core digital skills. First up, freelance writing or editing. You can set up a free profile on places like Upwork or Fiverr, offer services, maybe blog posts, editing emails, that kind of thing. Depending on how fast you are, complexity. You could pretty easily generate $500 or more a month.
And what's kind of cool here is how fast you can actually start. If you've got a good eye for grammar, efficiency. A related option is transcription. You just listen to audio, type it out. Platforms like Rev or GoTranscript get mentioned. This is purely time-based. Your speed directly impacts your earnings. You could make, say, $300 plus per month doing that.
Okay, moving up the sort of value chain, but still using those core admin skills is virtual assistants.
Yeah.
And this isn't just scheduling meetings, right? It could be remote email management, customer service support, basic data entry.
Yeah, a whole range of tasks.
Platforms like Belay or even just using your LinkedIn network are recommended. And the potential earnings here jump up quite a bit, maybe $500, even up to $2,000 monthly, especially since you're often using free tools like Google Workspace to do the job.
And if we connect these sort of higher value options, they really lean on communication organization. That's especially true for the two biggest potential earners on the list we saw. That's online tutoring or coaching and social media management.
Yeah.
For tutoring, you're teaching subjects you already know well, languages, math, maybe even specific software. You can use the free version of Zoom. Sites like Preply or Tutor.com connect you with students. And we're talking maybe $15 to $50 an hour. That can easily become $300 to $1,000 a month part-time.
Wow.
And the zero-cost part is you're just using the knowledge you already have.
And social media management, another high-leverage one. You use what you already know about platforms like Instagram or TikTok. The strategy here is pretty smart. Offer a free trial maybe. Local small businesses, just DM them.
Yeah, demonstrate your value first.
Exactly. And you can use Canva's free version for creating graphics, content calendars, that free work.
Yeah.
That is your portfolio. And the sources show that even landing one or two small clients could earn you $200 to $1,000 per client per month.
That's significant potential from a free start.
Definitely. Okay, now let's maybe pivot a bit. Away from pure digital skills, maybe towards options using physical assets you already have or local opportunities. My personal favorite, just because of the story that shows the crazy potential, is reselling unwanted items.
Ah, the flipping game.
Yeah, we're talking clothes, books, gadgets from your own house, post them on Free Size, Facebook Marketplace, offer up, take photos with your phone, use packaging you already have lying around.
Mm-hmm.
The sources have this genuinely, shocking figure. One seller apparently hit $735,000 a year just flipping their own stuff initially.
700,000. Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's an outlier for sure.
Total outlier, absolutely. But it shows the explosive potential, right? You start with zero cost using your own things, and then maybe you reinvest profits into buying inventory later, moving beyond that zero investment start.
That's a really critical distinction, though, that high earnings story. It shows the power of reinvestment. But for a beginner, we have to acknowledge the complexity. Yes, you avoid upfront inventory costs, but you introduce a huge time cost. Listing things, taking good photos, answering messages constantly, negotiating, shipping.
True. Lots of work.
Reselling needs serious time management. It's not passive.
Right. Okay, so if you prefer pure service gigs, there are local options, like pet sitting or dog walking. Free apps like Rover or Wag help you find clients locally. This is great if you're outgoing, active, love animals.
Yeah.
A really solid zero-cost hustle. You could easily pull in $400 plus monthly.
Yeah, definitely popular.
And finally, for the really low-effort, sort of time filler option, paid surveys and microtasks. Apps like Swagbucks or Survey Junkie. Purely time-based. Look, you aren't going to get rich doing this.
No.
But maybe while you're commuting or waiting in line, they can actually generate a decent $100 to $200 a month, paid right to PayPal usually.
Yeah, it adds up slowly. If we kind of connect all this back, the sources really stress that picking the right hustle for you is key to avoiding burnout. Choose something that actually aligns with your interests, you know? If you're creative, maybe lean into content creation or social media. If you're more outgoing, maybe dog walking or TaskRabbit type gigs. Sustainability always wins over speed.
It makes sense. So given this huge list of what you could do, the sources recognize that the biggest hurdle often isn't the idea, it's analysis paralysis, just getting stuck.
Right, freezing up before you even start.
So they laid out a very practical, 6-step roadmap to avoid that. Step 1, assess your assets. We cover that. Know your skills, know what resources you have. Step 2, choose and research. Pick one, maybe two ideas, and dedicate just one day to research. The sources specifically mention checking out free communities, like Reddit's a side hustle for real stories. See if your niche is actually, profitable right now.
That research part is all about validation, really. If you're thinking transcription, you need to see what software people use, what the current rate is. It stops you from pouring time into something that's maybe outdated or totally saturated.
Good point. Okay, step 3, set up for free. This is where a lot of people get tripped up, I think. They assume they need a fancy website, professional branding. What did the sources say about setting up with truly zero cost?
The emphasis is really on simple, accessible credibility. For a lot of services, you don't need a website initially. You need a portfolio. If you're a writer or a VA, maybe just a polished Google Doc showing samples of your work, that's enough to start.
Okay.
If you're doing social media or graphics, use the free version of Canva to create some samples. You could even use your existing social media profiles as a sort of storefront. The goal is just a professional look without spending money.
And that leads right into step 4, market yourself. How do you get those first clients if you're not paying for ads?
You leverage communities that already exist. Word of mouth is huge, especially for local stuff like pet sitting or tutoring.
Right.
For remote work, the sources suggest posting in targeted local Facebook groups. Not spamming, obviously, but offering a real service to a specific community. And for digital skills, using platforms like X, formerly Twitter, or LinkedIn, just briefly outline what you offer, link to that free Google Doc portfolio. It's effective and costs nothing.
Okay. Step 5, start small and track. Aim for just maybe 1 or 2 gigs a week at first. And crucially, use a free tracking tool, Google Sheets, even a simple notebook. Log your time, log your earnings.
Yes. Tracking is vital. And that flows right into the final, really important step, scaling smart. The sources stress this. Once you've banked your first earnings, maybe $100 or so, that's when you can think about reinvesting a tiny bit, but only into things that improve your efficiency or make you look more professional, like maybe a cheap domain name if you decide to get serious about blogging. But the absolute rule remains, avoid anything that promises fast results if you pay an upfront fee. If they ask for your credit card just to get started, it's not a zero investment hustle. Run away.
Yeah, that's a huge red flag. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. the mindset shift. The sources really emphasize that the main reason people fail isn't the idea, it's inconsistency.
Mhm.
You have to treat this like a job. Dedicated hours, even if it's just 5 hours a week. It's active work, not magic money.
That taps right into that psychological barrier we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
People quit because they compare their first like $50 earned to someone else's full-time success story online.
Right, impatience.
Exactly. You have to accept there's a ramp-up phase. The sources give realistic expectations. Many people do hit that $500 a month goal, but it often takes 1 to 3 months of consistent effort. You need that routine to push through the initial friction. And this also brings up a really important point every hustler has to deal with: legality and taxes.
Ah, yes, the fun part.
Huh, yeah. Well, when you start earning money, you're essentially self-employed. In the US, you have to report income if your net earnings go over $400 a year.
400, that's pretty low.
It is. Doesn't matter how small the payments are, because you're basically a small business. You need to be ready for self-employment tax.
Okay, so for the beginner who's trying to keep this simple, keep it free,
Hmm.
what's the practical advice for managing the tax side?
Track everything from day one. Use a free tool like Wave, maybe just a detailed spreadsheet. You just don't want a surprise tax bill later. By treating it like a real business activity, even when the earnings are small, you build that paper trail. That's non-negotiable if you ever get audited or want to scale up properly.
Okay.
Also, quick check on local rules, especially for in-person stuff like dog walking. Sometimes you might need permits or specific insurance, though usually that's more when you start scaling up significantly.
Got it. So what does this all really boil down to? Our deep dive seems to show that the financial barrier to making extra income, it's almost non-existent. The best hustle is probably the one you can actually stick with because you enjoy it, or at least it uses skills you already have.
Yeah.
It's about sustainability and just consistent effort, really.
That's the core finding, I think. What the sources really prove is that persistence creates opportunity. These small, zero-cost starts, they absolutely can grow into something much bigger. So I guess the final thought I want to leave you with, the immediate action step from all this is, what's one skill you have right now? Your writing, your organization, maybe just your energy. What's one thing you could monetize today using nothing but a free platform? Focus on that very first step. Use those first small earnings as your starting capital, and then just watch it grow. Build the whole thing from the ground up.